I'm Major Trey Urso, and I fly the F-117 Stealth Fighter.
Major Trey Urso's job is to constantly evaluate the F-117.
The F-117 was designed and built to enable it to fly into the most heavily defended areas on Earth. Its design optimizes its ability to get into those areas without being detected, tracked, and shot by the enemy.
The only foolproof way to avoid being shot down while attacking deep behind enemy lines is to make sure no one can see you, to make yourself invisible to radar. On the edge of the White Sands Desert in New Mexico is Holloman Air Force Base, the home of the most radical strike plane ever created, the stealth bomber, the F-117 NightHawk. A plane so strange that when pilots saw the first one, they thought it was a joke. It may look like an alien spaceship, but the F-117 is the logical step forward from the F-16, a strike bomber that cannot be detected by radar. The key to its success is its shape, angles and surfaces that do not reflect radar beams.
It was designed so that it could penetrate heavily defended airspace, and any enemy radar systems that might be looking for that aircraft will either be deflected away or will be absorbed by low observable RAM cover. Anytime you've got an edge, you have the potential for a radar to see that edge. So there's some really smart engineering that went into to make sure that those edges are all optimized and as flush as possible to ensure there's no radar cross-section bloom to the enemy radar systems.
Any irregular shapes, such as fuel tanks or weapons, which would reflect radar signals, are hidden inside the plane. And because the engines are baffled, on approach, the plane is almost silent to anyone on the ground.
Well, hopefully by the time the enemy would hear an F-117, the bombs have already gone off and we're well on our way home.
To further minimize detection, the F-117 only attacks at night and alone.
It's a completely different mindset when you're flying this aircraft. Unlike other frontline fighters, we typically employ by ourselves. We will fly into and out of combat zones on an optimized route that will give us the best chance to get into and out of that area without being detected and or engaged by the enemy.
Because they attack under the cover of darkness, they use night vision to identify targets.
The F-117 utilizes infrared target and tracking systems that basically gives us a TV picture of what's out in front of us. Once we see the general area that we're flying towards, we can then move the aircraft and funnel ourselves towards the target that we're trying to go after. We'll essentially see a black and white picture of the target that we're going after and be able to employ ordnance onto that target by visually identifying it.
When the F-117 was originally conceived, the first priority was to make it stealthy. The result was a design that was incredibly unstable. But using the lessons learned from the F-16, the designers were able to get the strange airframe to fly, using a sophisticated computerized fly-by-wire flight control system.
The F-117 cannot fly without its computers to help it. It's a fly-by-wire aircraft, and without those computers, the aircraft basically doesn't know which way is up and which way is down. When we're in a combat zone and we're focused on getting our weapons onto a target, we're basically on full autopilot, and we let the aircraft fly itself into and out of those heavily defended areas.
Without computers to keep the plane flying, the lone pilot could easily become overloaded, which could result in them missing a target, or even hitting the wrong one.
There's no other country in the world that has anything like it. There's no other aircraft flying today that has the capabilities of this aircraft.